Hey, what's up, guys? So if you're looking for the best dash cam possible, meaning you're looking for the best video quality possible, you're looking for a bunch of camera angles, or you're looking for improved reliability, well, there's an interesting option where instead of having a traditional two-channel front and rear dash cam, you could actually have two standalone dash cams running on the front and rear windows. Now, there's a bunch of pros and cons to having either one integrated dash cam with two cameras or running two completely separate dash cams standalone. And in this video, let's go over the pros and cons of both approaches. Now, diving right into things, the main reason why you might want to consider running a separate camera for the rear, and the reason why I started doing this, was to get better video quality back behind. You see, with a lot of dash cams, they're going to have a really good front-facing image sensor, but the rear image sensor is going to be, well, lower resolution, lower quality. The lens itself might have a smaller aperture and let in less light. And so for a variety of reasons, you may want to actually run a separate camera back behind. You know, maybe you want a 4K dash cam on the rear as well, not just in the front. Now, typically with a lot of dash cams, they've got maybe like 1080p in the rear or something. Recently, we've been seeing a lot of dash cams switch over to like 2K in the rear, especially with like better quality image sensors as well. And we're now actually starting to see some dash cams come out with like rear 4K sensors as well. For example, you've got the new Vantrue S1 Pro Max that uses a pair of 4K Sony Starvis 2 IMX678s for both the front and the rear. Similarly, you've got the Red Tiger F77 that's doing the same thing. Then there's also the 70mm T800, plus that adds a third 1080p interior cam. Then there's also the Mio 5 S1 Ultra, though that one does use lower end image sensors. Additionally, there's also some dash cams coming that are not yet released that are also going to offer this functionality. For example, there's the upcoming VFO A229 Ultra that's going to be doing 4K front and rear. And Blackview is also working on some 4K front and rear dash cams in the near future as well. And so there's going to be some more options coming that are not available yet. And so I think this benefit is going to be getting, well, less and less important over time now that we're getting more and more dash cams that are doing not just good front-facing image sensors, but also rear image sensors as well. That said, there's also some other benefits here too. For example, reliability is going to be a big one. If something happens, let's say you get into a crash and maybe your camera fails for whatever reason, well, if you've got a separate standalone camera recording, you actually increase the odds that one of the cameras is going to be able to capture that event. This actually happened to me when I first got my Miata, and I was kind of playing around with it, being kind of dumb, and I wound up spinning it out and hitting a curb. Now, when this happened, my front camera wound up recording the whole thing. The rear cam, though, which was a fully separate and standalone cam, wound up not recording anything when I wound up hitting the curb like that. Now, I have no idea why this happened, but luckily because I was running two separate standalone cameras, even though one of them failed, the other one wound up recording that crash. And it can also be maybe something silly, like let's say you get home, for example, you wind up unplugging the dash cam and pulling the memory card and you forget to put the card back into the camera. Next time you go driving, well, if that happens, then your camera's not recording, but if you've got a completely separate standalone rear cam, and I've had this benefit me as well before, well, at least you're getting something recording back behind. That's better than getting nothing at all. There's also stuff like if you're maybe a rideshare driver, typically the microphone is going to be in the main front camera. There's no mic in the rear cam, and so if you need better recording and audio in the rear, if you've got a separate front cam in the rear, well, that mic is going to do a better job of recording any of the audio in the rear of the vehicle. Additionally, if you want to expand with getting a bunch of additional camera angles, well, a lot of these dash cams are capped at like 2 to 3 channels. And so if you want 4, 5, 6 channels in your car to do additional interior angles or side coverage or exterior cams or whatever else, if you've got two front-facing cameras that are kind of serving as the base, well, then you can start to add a lot more add-on cameras, kind of giving you additional coverage beyond just having 2 to 3 cams max. And this is actually how I've gone about getting the additional side cams in my car, additional interior cams to get maybe like 4 or 5 channels instead of just 2 or 3. Now, that said, there's also a number of trade-offs if you go for like 2 separate front and rear cams like this instead of going for the traditional integrated front and rear solution. Number one, the front cameras typically are going to be larger because you've got not only the image sensor and the lens, but you've got the speaker, the microphone, the memory card, the brains, the processor, the GPS antenna, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. Like, you've got a lot of extra hardware in the front camera. And so for that reason, if you're putting a front camera on the rear window, it's going to be blocking more of your rear visibility than just a traditional rear camera would. Second, it's going to be a lot easier to grab the video files off of your dash cam if you're running just one. If you've got 2 separate dash cams, front and rear, well, then you've got 2 memory cards you got to pull, front and rear. You've got 2 power cables a lot of times you got to pull. So there's just more headache when it comes to pulling the front and rear video footage off of 2 memory cards as opposed to just 1 card on 1 main camera. Similarly, maintenance over time is easier. So let's say, for example, you need to change for daylight savings times twice a year. You only have to do that on one camera instead of on two if it's not switching daylight savings time on its own automatically, which is actually most dash cams. Additionally, when you want to synchronize the video from front and rear cameras, usually it's going to do a pretty good job if you've got a traditional 2-channel dash cam. They're going to be a lot of times perfectly synced or sometimes slightly off sync within a second or so for a variety of reasons. They're not always perfectly synced, but they're usually going to be pretty close. If you're going for separate front and rear cams, they might be pretty far out of sync, and it can be a little bit tougher to actually synchronize the different camera angles. Sometimes I'm going by like the audio or something. The time on the timestamps is not always going to be exactly accurate, especially if it's not synced by GPS. And so for that reason, synchronizing a lot of times is going to be easier if you're running just with one camera, with one memory card that has all the video footage on just one card. Additionally, if you ever need to trigger the emergency recording, like something interesting or important happened on the road, and if you trigger the front dash cam, well, if you've got a separate rear dash cam, that one is not also going to trigger. So you're going to have to go back and like look at the timestamp on the front camera and then look at that same time for the video file on the rear cam. It's not going to like set those files for read-only for both of the cameras. You can try to do things with like remote Bluetooth buttons to maybe have two of them triggering both cameras, or use voice control. Though sometimes a camera on the rear, if you're trying to say like lock the video or something, it might actually struggle to hear your voice over the road noise, the talking in the car, the music you're playing, etc. And so it's going to be struggling more than the front cam, which is going to be pretty close to your face. Additionally, if you want to get into cloud functionality, there's going to be some weird quirks you'll run into if you want to start doing multiple cameras. For example, if you've got a black view dash cam, that can get connected to the cloud via LTE and then serve as a Wi-Fi hotspot for other devices in the car. So like phones, radar detectors, tablets, whatever, those can also connect and share that Blackview Dashcam's Wi-Fi hotspot. However, Blackview will not let you share that Wi-Fi hotspot with other Blackview Dashcams. So if you run like front and rear standalone Blackviews like I do in my Audi, if you've got it connected to LTE on one of the dashcams, the other dashcam is not going to be able to use it. This is kind of a ridiculous limitation because I've run other cloud dashcams like ThinkWare, for example, and that can connect to the Blackview's Wi-Fi just fine, but Blackview intentionally limits being able to connect multiple Blackviews to one single Blackview Wi-Fi hotspot. I think it has to do with like bandwidth concerns and whatnot. I wish you could do it, but you can't. And so for that reason, you have to get like a separate Wi-Fi hotspot that now have both dash cams connecting to. That's kind of the approach that I've gone to. So it's kind of weird. Additionally, if you're running something like a Vantru dash cam and you get its LTE module, that can also serve as a Wi-Fi hotspot, but Vantru dash cams can only connect to the cloud using the LTE module. They can't connect over Wi-Fi, so it's not going to be able to share the other Vantru's LTE Wi-Fi hotspot either. So there's definitely some weird quirks here if you get into cloud sharing with multiple dash cams. And then lastly, it's also going to be cheaper if you're just getting a traditional front and rear dash cam than if you're getting two separate dash cams that each need their own processors, might have their own displays, their own memory cards, Bluetooth chips, Wi-Fi chips, etc. To have to double up on a lot of the hardware, potentially unnecessarily, it's just going to cost you more than if you have like one main dash cam that has some other add-on dash cams that plug into it that share the same processor and memory card, etc. And so with all this in mind, there's definitely some advantages for going for two separate standalone dash cams, whether it's for reliability, improved video quality, or just getting a bunch of additional camera angles. However, that's not going to come without its costs, without its trade-offs. And so I think for most people, unless you really need kind of like a separate independent dash cam, the easiest solution is just to go for like your traditional front and rear dash cam and add an interior one or something like that. Additionally, because we now have some manufacturers that are going for dash cams that have really good image sensors, 4K image sensors, both front and rear. Again, we've got some from Vantru, from Red Tiger, from 70mi, etc. Well, I think this whole advantage of having a really good image sensor in the rear and needing a separate front cam to get good video quality from the rear, that's becoming less and less necessary over time. And so I think some of the advantages here are going to start to diminish. There are still some, but I think for most people, probably best just to keep it simple and just stick with like a traditional front and rear dash cam. But what do you think? Like, which approach do you think works best? I think obviously different people are going to have different situations and different needs, and so we've got choices depending on what works best for you. But I'd love to hear from you guys kind of like what approach do you want to go for? If you're looking for one of these like 4K front and rear dash cams, I'll put links to them down in the description. Obviously those dash cams have their own trade-offs just like anything else, but again, it's kind of cool to see that we've got manufacturers prioritizing not just the front camera, but also the rear cam now as well. And so anyways, with all that said, that's just kind of like a compilation of my thoughts here with both approaches here for integrated dash cams versus separate standalone ones and the pros and cons of both approaches. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you're all doing great, and I'll see you in the next one.